Yes, my family does not listen to podcast, and I think my parents, they wouldn't even know what a podcast is. And most of my friends, they're not abuse survivors, like, my close friends are not abuse survivors. Um, and so I don't really promote it to my close circle of friends. It's like my associates and acquaintances that do what I do.
In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Diana Winkler, a remarkable singer, songwriter, speaker, and dedicated abuse advocate. Diana is the host of the Wounds of the Faithful podcast, where she courageously addresses the often hidden struggles of survivors within the church, using her own experiences to foster healing and empowerment. After spending 13 years as a missionary and enduring abuse that was tragically enabled by the church, Diana founded DSW Ministries, where she combines her passion for music with her mission to help others navigate the painful journey of recovering from domestic violence and trauma. She's here to share her inspiring journey on how she built her show from the ground up and how she's making a profound impact on the lives of those who have suffered in silence. Tell us your name and the name of your podcast and what it's about.
My name is Diana Winkler, and my podcast is called The Wounds of the Faithful, and it's about helping Christians heal from domestic violence, abuse, and trauma.
Oh, it's a very it's a specific podcast with a clear cut out, vision or mission or whatever the statement is. Oh, how long have you been doing this podcast for? Ooh, congratulations!
This is my 5th
Wow,
year.
wow, 5
Can't
years.
believe. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't think I'd make it
Yeah.
this far.
Well, can you still remember what led you to start the podcast?
Well, I'm an abuse advocate. I was leading these small groups of women, and it was during the pandemic, healing groups. And the groups are 18 weeks long. And during the pandemic, when the girls were in the group, that was the only time that they had any time away from their abusers. And when the group ended, I felt they needed more resources. And I was working from home in my day job, and I was listening to a lot of podcasts at the time, and I thought, I could do a podcast. I already have a studio because I'm a musician, and I like to talk, and I know a lot of people, and I'm very knowledgeable about my topic. So I thought it would be a good idea to start one so I could provide more resources to those that have finished the small groups and other people that might need help with healing from any kind of abuse.
I have a studio. I know my topic. I love to talk. Wow,
Yes.
that was a privileged start. You had a should I say a head start? A lot of head starts.
Yes. Yes, I had a lot of things already in
Yeah,
place, so I
it
think
was
it was
just a matter
a
of
good
choice.
fit.
Yeah, I'll do the podcast. Let's have it. So far the past 5 years now, how's the podcast been doing?
Well, I didn't realize that it's like another job. It really is time consuming, and I was surprised that I've lasted 5 years. Very consistent, and I enjoy doing it, but it is a lot of work. I expected to have more listeners on the podcast for 5 years, but I've decided that as long as somebody's listening, I'm going to
Yeah.
do the
When
podcast
you
for
say
whoever's listening. It's
I don't know.
5,000 people or 200 people.
Yeah, you were saying you were talking about the numbers, and I'm curious, right? What are numbers like right now?
Right now, I've got like 40 diehard listeners that, regardless of what I put out there, I know that those 40 people are going to be listening to the podcast. Overall, for the 5 years, the total's like 3,900, which I thought would have been higher at this stage in the game, but I'm more
Yeah.
interested in the quality
Yeah. Over
of
the
my show
course
rather
of the
than the
5 years,
numbers
did
at
you
this
do
point.
anything? Like, did you do anything when you that you can say, oh, I went out of my way to promote or market the show, other than just being consistent?
Well, as a advocate, I'm promoting to my small groups. I am involved with a lot of other advocates. They know about my show. I tell people at work about my show. I'm not really good at Facebook or social media. I do post on there some highlight reels. But I think the biggest thing that was being on other people's shows,
Yeah.
like yours, Wisdom, and being on other abuse podcasts. Friends of mine, I'd be on their show. I think that does more than
Yeah,
social media, to
because
be
the
honest
people
with you.
that are listening to podcasts, they already listen to podcasts, and so it's just a matter of do they want to listen to that kind of topic. If yes, they check it out. If not, they move on. But social media, like not everybody on social media listens to podcasts. So now you're trying to convince them to try to listen to podcasts in the first place, and then listen to your podcast. So you're trying to do two things, which is quite difficult.
Yes, my family does not listen to podcast, and I think my parents, they wouldn't even know what a podcast is. And most of my friends, they're not abuse survivors. Like my close friends are not abuse survivors. Um, and so I don't really promote it to my close circle of friends. It's like my associates and acquaintances that do what I do, conferences and that sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, the guests on my podcast, those that share their episode
Wow.
make the numbers go way up. I know when my guest shares with their audience, it goes from, okay, usually it's, 150, and then it goes up to 90, 900. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of
It will
people.
stabilize.
I really
Yeah.
wish that it was like that every week. No, I always send a thank you. Thank you for sharing your
Yeah. Yeah.
podcast episode with your friends or your followers.
Yeah.
It really
I want us
helps.
to pull back
So
the curtains and see how your podcast episodes get made, right? How often do you publish?
I now publish every other week because I have a 10-hour job. I have all these responsibilities at home, and I was just drowning. So I used to be every week, but I decided to step back and do every other week to give me more time to get a good quality podcast out because I felt like I was going quickly trying to get it edited and
For the
it was just
record,
too
you're the one
much.
producing
So
your show from
every
start
other
to
week
finish,
right
right?
now.
I say for the record, you're the
I'm sorry,
sole
say that
producer
again?
of the podcast. Yeah, okay. Um,
I'm the solo
okay, two
producer, yes.
questions. The first is, what was the schedule like before you made this adjustment?
Yes, it was every week. I was pretty consistent, probably up to the 4th year. Every week I would post an episode, and it was a
Yeah,
lot of work. Sometimes I barely get it posted, and, I'm all
yeah,
stressed out because I just don't
that's
have
true.
enough hours in the day. So,
The I don't
it's
know,
hard.
but from start to finish, what would you say is like the aspect of production that takes like almost maybe 50 or 60, more than 50% of the time?
Most of it is editing. Editing takes a lot of time. Now, another thing I would say is I used to do an hour podcast. I now do 30 minutes because it would take me so long to edit an hour podcast. That's 2.5 hours of work. And again, I was drowning. I was stressed out with the load. So I switched to 30 minutes, and that might take a little over an hour to edit the podcast now. So
Okay. When
not
you
as
edit,
bad.
what are you like looking at for? What are you like? What's the
I'm one of those people that do not like the ums and the ahs and the mouth noises and repeated words, stuttering. I can't stand it. I know that's natural speech, but I cut everything
no
out.
wonder it takes a lot of time. Yeah, because I was like,
It
yeah,
does, but I do have some software, Descript, that I purchased. This was after the 3rd year. I found Descript, which will take all that stuff out. I guess that's AI. You can take out certain words. You can take out the ums and the ahs just by pushing a
yeah.
button. It's not a perfect system, but yeah, that's mainly what I'm looking for is to get rid of all that stuff first. Then Some people go on rabbit trails or they're going off topic or they're saying something that, my audience is not gonna like this, so I'm going to edit that out. So I'm looking for cohesiveness. Um, you wanna get rid of the
Oh,
dead space in the middle. So I can also take things on a different order if I want
yeah.
what they said here to go at the end, then I can cut and paste, so that's a good thing. But other than that, I just let the natural conversation flow. I want it to sound human and not
Ah,
overly edited. I want it to sound like real people,
yeah.
not
Okay.
machines that did the
Okay.
podcast. So,
So before you started publishing every other week, you were doing one every week consistently, and now you're doing every other week. You did mention that you have a healthcare job. If you don't mind, because earlier when we hopped on the call, I was like, you said healthcare job. I was like, oh, what exactly are you doing in the healthcare? Yeah. So what were we even saying?
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
So, what
I'm
was the
curious.
question?
What exactly do you do in the healthcare system? Healthcare. You mentioned you had a
Oh, the gear,
healthcare
you
job.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh, healthcare. Yes, my day job. I work as a
Ooh.
scheduler for an
Okay.
orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
schedule all the
Um.
appointments.
Yeah.
So it's very complex. I've
Ooh.
got
19.
19
Yeah, and you
surgeons
have to make sure that
to
nothing
schedule
clash.
for.
Wow, that's a lot.
Each doctor has their specific things that they want done with their schedule. So that's what the challenge is. And there's a long wait list for, like, for example, the knee and hip replacements. There's a huge
Ooh.
wait list, like 18 months long, because there's not enough surgeons to go with the demand for the surgeries. So, yeah, I have to tell patients that
Yeah.
we don't have any availability right now. I don't like giving bad news.
So how do you say that?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But
Yeah, that's right.
oh man, I
Yeah, I'm
don't
really
think
sorry
that
that you don't have
that's
any
one of those jobs that
availability.
I don't really know. I don't think I'll be able to cope because like giving sad news is one of those things that man, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, and the people are really nice. I have a great team that I work with, great supervisors. So I like coming to work every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes a big
Okay.
difference.
So far you've been doing the podcast. How do you get your guests?
I have signed up for a service called Podmatch, and it's pretty much set up like a dating service would be set up. It has your profile as a podcaster. You can also have a profile as a guest, which I have both. And the system is set up where they send you matches according to what kind of podcast you have. So I get people that want to be on my show all the time. And I look at their profile and I see, is this going to be a good guest for my audience? And you can choose yes or no. And that's how I get probably 90% of my guests right now. The other guests that I have are either in my small groups, somebody I work with, or my associates
Yeah.
in
Prior
advocacy.
to joining Podmatch, what was it like?
Well, again, I had a lot of things going for me when I started. I knew a lot of people. I'm a survivor myself, and so I had been through my own journey of healing. So I had created a community of like minded people. So I started with that community. Hey, you want to be on my podcast? Because I'm starting one this year.
Oh,
And I got a lot of people that were interested. So it really wasn't that hard for
yeah,
me
yeah.
to find guests. I know a lot of other people have challenges with getting a warm body on the podcast.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
work
have
with
that
people, so it's
problem.
just a matter of asking them. Say, yeah, I did start a podcast. I'd love to interview you. And like, yeah, sure. Let's make it happen. When will that be? And you figure out the logistics. And yeah, that's it. Now, I want us to do
Yes.
something fun. It could be fun. It could be prior to let's say this podcast was an experiment, right? And after 5 years, we're looking back and we're like, okay,
Mm.
we're trying to do right conclusions from the experiment. What would be some of the findings, some of the learning, the conclusion from the podcast, as being a podcast host and producing, hosting, and doing the podcast consistently for the past 5 years.
I mean, I think I did the right thing. I did a lot of stuff right. I did get help. I did take a class in podcasting. I did have people that I could ask to be on the show. I had the equipment. So starting out, I did very well. I was consistent. That was a good thing. 99% of my guests are very good guests and create value for my guests, or my listeners rather. Maybe once in a while there were some that I interviewed that were not a good fit for the show, and
In there.
like, without getting too descriptive or identifying everybody, but they knew nothing about my show or what my show was about, and they'd come on the show. And I think I'm much more particular who comes on the show, and I make sure that listening to them on other guest appearances, that this is the right fit. Otherwise, it can be really awkward. I think that looking back, it would be nice to have a co-host. I would like to have a co-host, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like a marriage, trying to find somebody that would fit with your personality and that you're not on top of each other, or that
Yeah.
you have the same sense of humor and you have the same goals. So I'm a solo podcaster because I'm probably a control freak. I want it done a certain way. Uh, with the right person, if they came along, I probably would do a co-host. Monetization, everybody talks about monetization. This has been a money pit for me. I spent a lot of money with the software and the podcast hosting platform. I have a website for scheduling. I pay for Podmatch for the premium. So there's all these expenses, and I wish, going back to the beginning, I would have found a better way to monetize. I might
I mean,
make
it's not too late.
$5
The podcast is
in a
still
month.
running.
Yeah, it's still running. I just feel that it would have been better to do it from the beginning rather than, okay, now I'm here for 5 years and now I have to figure out how to pay my podcast bills. I think the ads, I don't like having mattress ads. I had ads on, I
Ooh,
had like casino ads and like eh, alcohol and liquor store ads, and I was told with the ad company that's not what kind of ads I was gonna have. So I complained, and I think I had the ads for 1 year, and I only made $5 from
wow.
the whole year from those stupid ads. Mattress commercials, or, those meal delivery programs, which I don't have a problem with, but I got my first podcast sponsor this year. Somebody from my local community that we did a financial deal. I would promote their fitness studio. This is a gym that I go to. I would promote their gym, and then they would give me $20 a month for the podcast. So
Yeah.
that was the first one that I've gotten. And it's, people that I really like and I'm passionate about what they do. I'm very health oriented, physically fit. And so it took a long time for me to get a sponsor. I think looking back, I would have liked to find some other quality sponsors I could have had on the show to, again, make some money. Maybe not to be rich or wealthy, but
Yeah.
just to make the bills would be nice. Just to meet my expenses would be okay. So
Yeah.
I am working on
Yeah.
that, finding
Usually
another
it works better if you
sponsor
can
to
find a
add to
local
the show.
sponsor, right? And just have them,
Yeah,
because
they
they're
tell
already spending
me.
money on TV, radio, and there's no way for them to what's the word, to measure or see anything if it's working. And then you can also tell them that this episode still be there for like a long time, right? it's not like radio where once the
Yeah.
15 seconds is done and that's it. And then, you could negotiate a couple of things. And yeah, I mean, if they could cover the expenses of the podcast and keep the lights on, that would be good.
Yeah, I have offered them guest appearances on the show to talk about like topics like bullying. They have karate for the kids and talk about bullying and self-defense and being able to have physical fitness so you can run away from danger or etc. Some topics that would be beneficial to the audience and promote their
Yeah,
studio at the
yeah,
same
it's a
time.
win-win.
So
You get guests and you get
yeah, I get guests and they get to promote
yeah. Earlier on, I did
their
not ask
fitness.
you, are you on YouTube? Have you always been on YouTube
I
or
am on YouTube.
you joined along the
Well, I'm a musician, so I've always had my music and some videos from my musical appearances on YouTube. When I had started the podcast, I just added the podcast episodes to YouTube. So I do have a specific channel
mind
for
if we
the
look at it?
podcast. So you can see all the episodes and then you can
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
So
It will be DSW
the reason
Ministries
I asked if you mind if we
is
look
the
at it is
YouTube.
because I wanted to pull it up on your screen and share your screen with us. Okay.
So I don't know how to
If
share
you look,
screen on Riverside.
you should see the option on the
Let's see.
screen right now.
Let me pull up my channel here. And afraid I'm gonna lose my microphone
Yeah,
if I
I can still
move.
hear you. We're in the class.
This is my
Yeah, no problem.
I
I'll
would have
just,
had it up
click on the
beforehand
button. I cut out the dead
if I
space
would have
and boom, straight to the part where you start showing.
the edit button. Let's see. Right, so here's my channel. Let's see, videos. So this was my guest last week, Ron Davis. And John David
I
Graham
can't
was
see the screen.
before that.
No. Have you shared?
We can't. Let me see. Is it
Okay.
share screen?
Hey, just a quick break. If you enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode.
YouTube.
Yeah, it worked.
All right. I hope this works.
Yeah.
You see it now? Okay.
Can you click
All
up
right.
and
So this
straight on
is
to your channel?
my guess. Well, let's see
No,
if I can.
no, you can click on. Okay, it's alright. Yeah, you have a playlist.
So here's the podcast one.
Why do I hear a male voice for the
All right.
introduction?
So that's my intro. That's the
Okay.
that's the intro music. So these are all of my guests on the show. On the right side here.
Okay, is it audio or is it video? Okay.
It is video.
How's the YouTube even? What's the? Are you monetized on YouTube?
So this is a list of all my podcasts here. Then if you have playlists, you have, all right, close. So here's the podcast. These are my short videos. I do a highlight reel for each guest. Some
It
part
appears
of
the
their
tab you're
interview
on
that
is not
was
the one you
really
shared. So what's happening is just the tab you shared that I don't know if it makes sense. Yeah, I can see it now. I see everything now. Oh, so the playlist,
is this
the podcast.
all right?
No
Did I
problem,
mention I'm
problem.
not technologically advanced? All right, so I'm hitting playlists. This is the podcast, and this is the highlight reels that I do for each guest. I have my music stuff down here. So these are like I'm singing Christmas songs. I'm doing some cover songs and songs about domestic violence that I've written. I did abuse Q&A one time, that sort of thing. So I did some reviews, some videos for fun, but primarily I haven't had time to put any new
Okay.
music videos, but let me, why is it? Why isn't it?
No, no,
Why
no, no.
isn't it
You know,
playing?
it's not super.
Oh,
You're looking at it as someone wants to edit it. What you do is you see the icon at the top right, the that image at the top right of the screen right now. The very top right, you see the what's the color? That circle image avatar profile icon. Can you see? Yeah,
that
if you click on it, you see something
my
like view your
avatar.
channel or something like that way it will take you to the channel
Oh,
as someone who wants to
Wisdom is gonna Wisdom's gonna teach me everything about
oh,
YouTube today.
okay, yeah.
So yeah.
Have you clicked on it? Because but it's still showing me that you've not. Okay, it appears it takes some
hmm
time to. So when you click on it, what's it showing? Because yeah, yeah, okay, aha, yeah, yeah. That's so you can click on playlist to take you to maybe the cover song,
Oh,
and yeah, here we are. Yes.
so here's a
I
cover
won't. Okay,
song.
of course it's your song, so I'm not gonna get copyright strike.
So this is a
Wait,
cover
wait,
of a
wait.
song.
Is it your?
You probably have heard this.
Is it your?
This is a cover tune. It's
Music. This
not one that
the
I've
thing about
written.
music stuff. I'm very like
I'm singing it.
careful because I don't want to get hits on YouTube because this will go live on YouTube. Yeah, if it was your song, I would have said yeah.
Okay. I mean,
But
I
the
have
licensing is for you.
licensing
It's not
for
for
that,
me.
but
I'm not
I'll play
licensed to play the song.
something.
Yeah, but if you have your own song, okay, okay,
Okay.
yeah, you understand, right?
No problem.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna play
yeah.
my
Okay,
own. Yes, I do understand. I'm gonna play my song. So
I'm not addicted to
here's
Facebook.
one that's called "Not Addicted to Facebook."
That's loud. That's loud. That's. Can you touch on the
That's
volume a bit?
loud.
No,
Let's
no, no,
see.
like
How do I
the way you
turn the volume
regulate your.
down on
Okay,
that?
yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
here.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that loud enough?
Wow.
You want to hear a different song?
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm not addicted. It's just I
Let's
have
see.
too much time.
Let's try a different song. No,
Yeah.
we'll do whatever you
Wow.
want to
I
do.
like the song.
But
So I'm I'm
that
I'm
is
quite
my
curious
music.
why the name
Some of my
DSW
music
Ministries.
originals.
I was expecting something like the podcast name or your name.
So DSW is my
Oh, okay,
initials, Diana Winkler. I originally, as I was saying, that this was my music
yeah.
ministry was first before the podcast. I just added the podcast
Okay. Okay.
to my ministry. So I don't have a
Yeah.
separate channel just
Yeah.
for the
Yeah. Yeah.
podcast. It's too much work,
Yeah.
too much to
I
keep
mean, if the
track of.
podcast grows to a
So
level where you need
it,
to have
it's
a
all
separate
together.
channel, you can always make a new channel for it. But right now, it just has to be there for people to discover and find. You don't
Yeah.
create
So
thumbnails for the podcast.
So I used to, it just takes too much time. I used to have I had an admin assistant that used to create the thumbnails for Winds of the Faithful, and
Oh,
it
this one has a
got,
ton of views. That
I've
that
been
one
doing
has a
it
ton
for
of
5
views.
years.
Like 76 views. Uh,
I have more viewers on
okay, okay.
YouTube than I do
Let's do
for the
something.
audio,
Let's do
which
something.
might
Click on the
be
videos tab,
interesting
like
to
at the
you.
top, right? Yeah, and then click on pop. Yeah, and
Popular.
yeah. Um,
Oh yeah,
help me out here.
these boy,
Uh,
Jimmy Hinton
is
was
that 65,000? I am saying.
16,000 views.
Wait.
That's Jimmy
Wow.
Hinton, and he was one of the guys that shared his episode with his, because he had a podcast. I don't think he has one now anymore, but he shared it with his viewers, and that's
Okay. Okay.
how
So what
it
about the
got that
rest that
many
has
views. So
65,000? Did they share their episode?
yes, Amanda Blackwood. Yes, she's also an advocate.
Yeah.
She's 65,000. See, I have a lot more viewers on YouTube, which is strange because I don't put a whole lot of effort. I capture the video just like I capture the audio, and then I put the bumpers on and I
For
publish it. I don't
me,
do anything
it's
fancy. You
the
see, I
title
have my
that you
green
have going
screen,
working for you. I don't know if you've noticed. No, it's the title. It's
The
not the
Winds of the
thumbnail
Faithful.
that's working for. The thing that is like I can only look at once I'm looking at the video is the title. Like
Mm.
for the lady, right? The first lady. That's episode 142. You said traffic three times, right? That's like a
Yes.
story. Now somebody it will catch my attention. I want to see, okay, what happened? And this
Yeah.
Jimmy Hint, my father is a pedophile. That's a story, right? Now, if you scroll down compared to some of some
Yes.
of the other episodes, there are some that it's there is no story to the title where I'm like, okay, not no curiosity, nothing to get me curious about. Okay, I want to know more. What happened when you were trafficked three times? How did you survive? What was it like and stuff like? How to recover?
Mhm. Ever of a coerced abortion was only
Oh,
997 views, but,
okay. Can I can
she might not have
offer some
shared the episode.
recommendations?
You never know.
For the thumbnail, right? The kind of, okay, I'll give the example. The kind of content you make, right, is the kind of content that I know most people they want to tell you that you should do SEO, but
Mhm.
SEO is not really your best. I don't know if you've heard of SEO before. Okay, I said I don't know if
I'm
you've
sorry, I
heard of
didn't understand the question.
SEO before.
I've heard of
Okay,
it, but, I can't keep
that's the
up
thing.
with SEO. I took, like, 2
Yeah,
courses in SEO, and it's like, it keeps
okay.
changing,
The thing
and I
is,
can't keep up with
the
the
content you
demand
create,
of
SEO
SEO.
it's not like
Yeah.
it's not the type of content that is made for SEO, because the kind of thing that will play to your advantage is having a way to tell the story, have titles that tell the story of what the content is, such that it's interesting. And AI can do this stuff for you, right? And what you need to do is you come up with a prompt,
Mhm.
right? And once you come up with a prompt, what you need to do is you just I think you use this script, so you can easily take the show notes or the transcript and just add it to the prompt and put it in ChatGPT, and it's going to come up with really good titles for you every time. So you don't even have to start wondering and asking yourself, well, what do I use for the title?
So does ChatGPT actually work? I've kind of, because Descript has ChatGPT right in there, and I was, like, looking at the titles that they pick, and I'm kinda second guessing myself if they're
the
good titles or
for
not, so
what has been working for you so far are titles that tell a story, right? That open a loop, that get people curious, and like, oh, I was trafficked. I know that was simple. My father is a pedophile, right? And your episodes that are usually guests coming on the podcast to share their story, right? It's not, yeah, it's not. I mean, it inspires, it
yes, a
educates, but
story,
it's not like an
definitely.
educational podcast where I'm teaching someone how to start a podcast. That's way different, right? So we want to play into the story, and
Right.
yeah, I think I know of a channel that does interview of people. Right, it's a Christian channel. They do interview of people before, like how their life was before they gave their life to Christ, and how Jesus kind of like helped.
Oh,
I can't just remember the name of the channel, but these guys are
yes.
pretty good at doing at crushing the title. Like they don't, it's not SEO stuff. When you see the title, you're like, oh, there was one that I saw, like I was a witch. I did witchcraft before stuff, and I was curious to like watch the video. Like every time you see, the story, it's something that you really know what you're getting to, and you want to.
Well, I'll definitely take that to heart because I probably could come up with better titles. Um,
No, no, no,
I
no.
just
I
don't want
mean,
them to be
yeah, I mean,
clickbaity type of
oh,
titles,
okay, I'll give an example. Let's say I was to finish this podcast episode. I don't know what the title would be, and I'm like, how this healthcare worker um started the podcast consistently for 5 years. That's not clicked. I mean, I know that, but yeah, that's a story. And a lot of persons who are in the healthcare industry who want to start a podcast, they'll see that stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
I want to listen to that episode.
yeah.
Right? So the idea is, how do you find a title that it's not
Mhm.
clickbait, because clickbait is when you make a promise and you don't deliver on it. That's clickbait. I mean, if I tell you that in this video
Right.
I made $100 million in 24 hours. If in that video I made $100 million in 24 hours, that's not clickbait. But I mean,
Right. Well, you're just making
yeah,
the
but the
title
thing
just
is,
to
you want to make
get
sure
them
that whatever
to
we put in the
listen to
title,
it.
that it's in the video and we deliver, right? An example of a terrible clickbait is I don't know if you notice that
Mhm.
sometimes trending movies will come out, and then they will put that, oh, watch this they'll put the name of the title of the movie, and then when you start watching the movie on YouTube, you realize that this is not the movie. That's all clickbait. Like, that's terrible, because now you made a promise and you didn't deliver on it. Because I'm expecting to see. So the
Yes.
question is, what expectations do my title set? and we want to make sure that we satisfy those expectations. That's it. And once we're able to do that, we yeah, yeah. And then
Mhm.
yeah, you did mention.
Well, I will
Yeah, I'm
definitely
trying to know. I
think more
I wish I
about
could
that.
remember the name the name of the title of the video of the channel. I would have said let's search it up. But uh, could we
Well,
search
if you
could
find it,
yeah, could we
in the
search for something
future,
like
you always can
I
message
was
me.
I was a witchcraft before Jesus changed my life, and once I see the channel, I'll let you know what it. And
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
let
no
me know.
problem.
You don't have to
Once I
remember it
find it,
right
I'll let you know
now.
because they don't even stress themselves. Their thumbnail is usually a close up of the guest, right? Of the person they're interviewing, and then the title does the full job, and they're crushing it, right? Because people want stories, people want to be inspired, and that's what your
Mhm.
podcast is all about. And it would be nice if you get monetized on YouTube. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I appreciate those little tidbits. I'm definitely gonna think about those,
yeah,
editing my
that's true.
next
Let me just write
podcast.
it down. Okay, let me write it. Okay. This everything I just said, all right. I will make an attempt to make a video out of it, and like step by step of what it will look like, and then when I do, I would send you the link to the video, and yeah, no problem.
Wow, thank you so
Yeah, I
much.
just feel that there's a whole lot. The thing that I keep saying is I'm a messenger. I have a message to share with the world, but podcasting is the medium I happen to choose. Yeah, so the message is always
Mhm,
my
yes,
priority. If it
exactly.
means I have to do something to get the message across, it doesn't matter. I'm not like I didn't pledge allegiance to podcasting. Yeah, I mean we're all podcasters, but that's just the me. Yeah, yeah. You can stop sharing
So,
your
do you
screen.
want
Yeah,
me to
thank
stop
you so
sharing my
much
screen?
for doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like 65,000.
Absolutely.
That's a ton. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I was really surprised it got that high, but those folks were the ones that shared their podcast on their website and to their audience. So, um, I definitely made
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
to thank
yeah.
them
Wow, that's
'cause,
that's a big time podcast. I mean, yeah, it's a big time podcast. Wow. Okay. So just I know you did mention some of the slides um projections you have for the podcast, and I just want you to like share them with us. This time more like a focus so that probably maybe 2 3 months from now, 6 months from now, when would invite you and to follow up and see how's everything going. And they're like, yeah, the last time you were on the podcast you did say you're going to make $100 million. That would be nice, but I'm just kidding, or maybe not. Okay, so what are some of your goals, some of things you love to for the podcast to have? It would not.
Well, I'm always trying to improve my podcast. So, one of my mentors that has been on the show 3 times, I was in his creator group, and they suggested that I
Okay.
changed my intro. The spiel in the beginning. They said, "You should change your intro." I didn't really wanna hear that at the time because the music intro is my music, and those pictures on my intro were pictures from France. That is part of my story. Those that trip to France, and I really didn't wanna change, but I think in 5 years, I would be interested in redoing my spiel in the beginning as to what my mission is. I have come to want to focus more on the spiritual aspect, the spiritual abuse, and recovering from that more so than the other types of abuses, especially our relationship with God. So I'm going to create a different intro speech, and then I'm probably going to write
Yeah.
another song
I
for an
it's a
intro
It did escape me that I didn't see anything
sometime this
regarding the
year.
intro for your videos. Like you use this script, so the intro. The purpose of the intro on YouTube is to convince the listener to listen to the full episode. And in this script, you can copy and paste the like highlights of the
Right.
episodes and put it at the beginning. Add the music, your music, your team music at the back, and then of course you can also put the logo. But the logo will be like maybe 2 3 seconds, gets in and then gets into the stuff. And pe- the major parts of the episodes where people say some things, oh, this stuff happened, this stuff happened, before you know it, people are like, okay, I want to listen to the whole thing. So you can always do that. Since you're using the script, that would be easy for you. Just copy the text, put it in the beginning, do like three, four, five of them, and boom, that. And I think this script, yeah, I think this script they have a feature
A
where you
sneak
can put in
preview. Mhm.
automatic transitions for all of them. And
So, yeah, I wanted to step up my game in that department. I've had the same
I mean, the
music and
music is
intro
good.
for
The
5
music is good.
years, and why
The
not
music is
a refreshment? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I want it to be my music
wait,
because then I
is
don't
that not
have
your
to get
music?
permission to use somebody else's stuff, and,
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
music that
the
I
music is good.
composed, yes,
I mean,
for
it's
the
your show.
show.
You get
So,
to do whatever you like.
I'd
Yeah, by
like to
playing it,
promote
yeah,
my
so that
music
when it goes
by
viral, like, yeah, I love
using
that
my own
music. I want to
music on
listen
the
to it.
show.
Isn't that how some music go viral from movies too? You watch the movie, you're like, I love the music. You go check out the music. Yeah, that's really
Yes, exactly. So that's one goal that I have. The second is I'd like to get some more high profile guests. One in particular, I've had some really fantastic guests, but one in particular I would like to have on the show is Stephen Hassan. He is a cult expert. He helps people heal and get out of cults for one thing, and to heal from cult mind control. And I've followed his career for many years, and he is the goat. He is the best out there. He's fantastic. I'd like to do a series on the different types of cults and getting out of them and how to heal from that, and I'd like to have him on the show for sure, and a couple other
okay. That
high
would be
profile
fantastic.
guests on the show. Not that I don't enjoy the guests that I have, but I've been following this man for a long time, and he's very good
Yeah,
at what he does. I think he'd be an excellent guest, and people would get a lot of benefit from what he teaches.
yeah,
So those are 2, and we did talk about
yeah. Make a ton of
possibly some
money.
monetization, maybe a couple more sponsors,
Yeah,
not with
that's true. You could pitch
mattresses,
them and tell
but
them that the stuff goes live on YouTube too. Yeah,
or casinos. Yeah, so those are some of my
yeah.
goals for this
That would be
year.
lovely. Please, when the series goes live, I'll love to be aware of it, and probably we can have you back on the podcast, and you can walk us through how you did get Steve Hansen to be on the podcast and the series. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Now I'm really gonna have to do it since you're
Yeah.
gonna
That's
hold
true.
me
That's true.
accountable.
When would the series? Okay, that's you don't really know when the series will be going live. With work and everything, so many things. But you could flesh out the ideas. And yeah, that's true. Do having a series on court, that's a brilliant idea. Like, it could, wow. Like, you could, let's say, I don't know how many episodes are in a series, like maybe 12. Like, I don't know where I got that number from, but I just said, and then out of that 12, oh, okay,
12 is a lot. It's a lot. I've done series, like I did a Bible study series. How do you do a Bible study for somebody that's an abuse survivor? Um, because when you get out of abuse, you really don't want anything to do with God or the Bible or church. Well, how do you start over? How do you have a Bible study? So
okay,
I think I had
okay,
7 people in that series. I did tell my own story. That was really long. That was, I think, 18 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. That was a really long series, but I did not do it continuously. I had guests in between, um, but it was 18 total in the series. That was probably too long. I probably could have shortened it, but yeah, I think I'm gonna choose maybe 10 people at the most for the cults, because there's a lot of cults out there, and I
yeah, yeah,
probably want a variety, different kinds of cults and how they get out of it,
yeah,
how they
yeah,
heal. So,
yeah. Please, please do.
I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
thank you so much, Diana, for sharing your podcast.
Absolutely, thanks for the invitation. This was fun. As you can tell, I like to talk, and I appreciate also your advice. I didn't know I'd get a, you know, some free advice here on my show and how to make it
Yeah, my
better.
pleasure.
So thanks so much for that.
Where can listeners learn more about you and what you do? And could you tell us the name of your podcast again?
The podcast name is The Winds of the Faithful Podcast, and you can listen to that on just about any podcast listening device, all the major ones, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I think Spreaker's gone now, but all the major platforms have the podcast. And if you want to get a hold of me and my website, dswministries.org. And of course, we mentioned YouTube. The YouTube channel is DSW
Thank you
Ministries.
so much. Well, please, once there's a new development, a new sponsor, you make a ton of cash, you make the reach is increased, anything major that you feel like you want to share with someone regarding the podcast, please shoot me an email and I would love to celebrate. Yeah. And
Oh,
when you start making the money,
absolutely.
don't forget to pay your
I'll
tax.
definitely do that.
Your protection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jesus
Yeah,
says to pay
I'm
my
saying
taxes, so
my own cuts,
I also don't want to go to
not the
jail.
government tax. Yeah.
Oh, your
Just kidding.
cut. Okay, got it.
Protection money.
Gotta give a
How they
little.
say it? Yeah,
Gotta give you a little bit
protection
here.
money. So you can't be on this
Protection
block.
money,
We run
yeah.
this block. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, thank you so much. It's been fun chatting.
God bless you.
That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.